Note for those following along a hybrid, if anyone on the Zoom wishes to speak during the public comment period, please raise your virtual hand through Zoom. The chat box is not monitored during the meeting. Those on the call, please remain muted if you're not recognized to speak. We do have one individual signed up in person this evening, John House. I would invite you to the podium, and if you would, please state your name and address for the record.
John House, 104 Jefferson Street in FA Town. I have 3 items here I'd like to go through. Some of them have been spoken before. One is invasive species out in the west part of our city, especially the new subdivision we have bought. No action has been taken by the city as to getting rid of those invasive species. There is abandoned farmland there that is growing with weeds. I see we had a fire out there. I didn't see that in the newspaper. Where did that disappear to, or did it ever get in there? I had cameras up on my farm, and I noticed when they were drilling those soil tests, their equipment must have had a hot muffler and threw some sparks out, and there was 10-foot high flames going. So I think that stuff needs to get cut down, burnt, sprayed, and that's pretty much my call on that one. We also have stuff down on the Bethany Lutheran High School or grade school there. That's all full of invasive species inside the city of Fort also. I think somebody should contact them. I actually have, but that's all I can do. I noticed you guys mowed down the big blue stem that was growing alongside of the street there. That's really a nice, beautiful prairie grass. The seeds blew over probably from my farm. And it's a shame that that was cut down because that could have filled all those vacant lots in with a nice prairie grass free of charge. Okay, next one I want to go to is the stormwater discharge into our family marsh. For 50 years, we've accepted that water into our marsh without any complaints, except for one time. The water has become dirtier and dirtier. The holding ponds have not been cleaned or maintained since Jeff Woods left the city. What's up with that? I guess I had a meeting with Ms. Hausman and Andy Sully for about 15 minutes. I didn't express anything about the holding ponds. I just said we didn't care how much water came through. We just want it clean.
Mr. House, you have 10 seconds left.
Okay, could I request another 2 minutes?
3 minutes is the rule. If you have something real quick, I would.
Well, next thing I'll say is there's contaminated soils in that Banker Road property. That used to be a gravel pit. My father had a ready mix plant in there. I used to drive semis and dump trucks and cement trucks in there, and
Thank you for your comments. Appreciate that.
I will be back.
At this time, if there is anyone following along online who would like to provide some public comment, I would invite you to come off mute and state your name and address for the record, please. Not hearing anyone. We'll close the public comment. Item 5, consent agenda. The consent agenda outlined below is hereby presented for action by the city council. Items may be removed from the consent agenda on the request of any one council member. Items not removed may be adopted by one action without debate. Removed items may be taken up either immediately after the consent agenda or placed later on the agenda at the discretion of the council president.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any questions, comments? Hearing none, motion is to approve the consent agenda as listed, items 5A through 5B. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is approved. Petitions, requests, and communications. Item 6A, Public Works and Parks Operation Facility, fourth Q4 project update. Superintendent Williamson.
Okay, good evening. This is the fourth installment of the updates that we've done so far on the project. This pertains to the Public Works and Parks Operations Facility construction project we started early in 2024. This is nearing the end of the process. We're getting very, very close to the move-in date. So we'll walk through the existing situation we have and see if we can't give you a good update here. The discussion topics tonight obviously will be the project to date and progress where we're at. Progress over the next 3 months, which I think we'll see a great deal of exterior progress now over the next 3 months. And then the budget update itself, where we're at, kind of a recap of where we've fallen within the budget that the council approved. So to date, all the interior steelwork, stairs, ladders, access points are all completed. Interior painting is done, short of just a few touch-up spots, which is very nice to see. Interior ceilings, flooring, and all the necessary equipment is installed. Cabinetry, countertops, and lockers are also installed. So as we walk through the facility now, it's looking like a facility. It'll be able to house all of our equipment and our people very well. The MP or the MEP and FP, which is the equipment and devices installed, they're all installed and operational, all fire protection. The fire alarms are online and being currently monitored. So as we get down to final inspections, we're pretty much ready to roll. And then the mechanics and all the wash bay systems are also complete. So we're looking forward to hopefully a smooth move in. We'll go through a few pictures. So this is the employee parking lot area. We're on the east side of the facility facing west. That is the 2 exit doors that come out and go down onto Eric Street. This is the kind of the southeast corner of the building itself, which is that's the sign location. The sign will be installed shortly. And then that's the front entrance to the building just beyond the fencing there. This is a final and completed concrete floor up in the upper mezzanine area, which is above all the offices. This has been formally and finally cleaned as of, I believe, yesterday. So this is what it looks like, and it's ready for us to install some pallet racking and equipment up there. This is some safety equipment. So we've got eye wash station, wash down station, and boot wash station and hand wash station, along with some exterior equipment lockers. So similar to the lockers the fire department uses for all their heavy clothing, this is for our outside clothing to hang up and dry. And this is right outside of the entry that goes from the garage area into the office spaces. This is the warming kitchen. So this is at the far south end of the training and break room. This is just awaiting essentially just a couple of cabinet doors and some appliances, and we're ready to roll with this. This is the training room facing north. So this is the training room that will eventually and potentially seat up to 60 people. It's awaiting obviously some finished final ceiling tiles, but it's pretty well ready to go. All the chair rail and side rail is in. This is our locker room, or what you can see of it anyway. The lockers are installed, the benches will be in soon, and all the plumbing is up to date right now. Only thing we're waiting on is the dividers between the water closets. This is the front entry receptionist area. So this is Tracy's office, the office coordinator. That's looking to the south. So that's the front entry that's on the right-hand side of the picture, and then that's her office there in front. Mechanical equipment, all HVAC equipment is installed and operational. So these are 2 boilers and the pump units for the heating system that's in, and that was fully operational as of yesterday and pumps running. So this is the air handler unit, or the giant furnace that heats and cools the office space. And this is a large air exchange unit that sits on top of the mezzanine. That was the first picture that you saw. This handles all the intake of fresh air that comes into the facility parking area. and pushes all the negative air and nasty stuff out the other way. So it works out really well. That's been operational for a week now. This is the generator. We should be up. Is it Friday startup? So we have Friday startup on the generator. It's installed and ready to go. And then here's the service bay area. So this is the maintenance and shop area that the two mechanics will work out of. We're facing, which would be north here, and this is showing the welding station. The small room in there is our bulk storage facility where we keep all of our bulk tanks. And then on top of that is the equipment that controls the wash bay. The crane was installed a few weeks ago and has been tested and fully operational. And that actually that spans the entire width of the service bay. So from the top of the mezzanine, which we're standing on, all the way to the welding shop area. This is the service bay lift. So the first main mounted lift is in, so the tower lift is in, and our pod lifts are awaiting to be installed here. Bulk storage. So this is our bulk lube system, contains all of our oils and grease. These are our exterior tanks. So if the council will recall, at the beginning of the process, we removed our fueling station, which had a 10,000 gallon unleaded tank and a 2,500 gallon diesel tank. Those tanks were removed. The area was reclaimed. And these tanks will serve as our off-road diesel use and our small equipment unleaded use. So these are 300 gallon tanks that will serve the use of both the Parks Department and the Public Works Department. Our pressure washer was installed a couple of weeks ago, but it's now been tested and up and running. And this is our 1,100 gallon supplementary tank for the wash bay, which is just the other side of the wall on the right. There's the wash bay itself. So that's the automated truck wash. That will be, I believe they've got next week, Tuesday, I think they're going to do startup on that. I thought it's next week, Tuesday, but that'll be a startup on that where they'll run it, flush the system, and make sure it's ready for us. And then, of course, we relocated and reclaimed our existing air compressor and used it for the new facility. So progress to be expected over the next 3 months. We've got a lot to do. Of course, we've got move-in coming within the next week or two, starting anyway. The West Parks garage gets the interior facelift, so that's where we'll be moving all the equipment out, cleaning the concrete, sealing the concrete, and painting the interior. The existing garage that we're in now, that has some asbestos tile in it that'll be abated in the coming month, and then demolition will commence, and that building will come down. The remainder of the exterior grading, so all the landscaping, grading, all the remaining storm sewer that goes in and connects to our pond on the east side, that will be installed in the spring. And then final landscaping and fencing will go in as part of the end of the project. So budget to date. Initially, the council approved the original budget of $11,544,000, including a 5% contingency, taking us to $12,121,200. Completed work today, including all stored materials, we're at $10,739,780.07, or roughly 89 to 90% of the project is complete. And the breakdown, which is difficult to see. There. So we can see on the right hand or the left hand side are the percentage complete where we're at on each of the phases. So we had soft costs initially beginning the project, which was all of our land purchases, design, permitting, and construction oversight, and utility relocation by We Energies. That was the estimated cost of about $1.2 million. Right now, we're currently at $1.15 million, and we have about $14,000 left on that budget to take it to closeout, about 98%. Building construction, we are again at 89% with $10 million, $10.7 million completed, about $1.4 million left to go on the project. And we really don't expect too many hiccups from here on out. Most of the expensive portions of the project, the underground discovering of items that we didn't know were there, is done. So we're imagining or envisioning this project coming in at budget. Furnishings and equipment, we're about 48%, and you'll see, the council will see further on the agenda, there's some items that are going towards this part of the project, which will increase the amount spent to date and decrease the remaining. But we're roughly about 48%. And the total project start to finish, we're about 87% totally finished at $12,031,000 to date and about 1.7 million remaining. And that's all I have. Brad Wergens from Angus Young Architects is on the line if there's any questions that the council might have that he can assist with, or I'd be happy to answer any questions for you.
Any questions?
Yeah, do you still think we're on pace to complete within budget
Yeah.
and or the contingency?
Yeah, I fully expect to come in on budget. We're still hopeful to come in below, a little below. Certainly on the FF&E side, we're being very careful to watch those funds. And I know that the 5% contingency seems to have been a good choice for us. We're still under that total cap, and I think it's working out nicely.
Come across any surprises or any concerns? to this
No,
point?
I think what the council can expect for future change orders would be simple, small adjustments that we're making, realizing as we move in and, oh, we forgot this or this needs to be added, but they're small items. I don't expect any big ticket items. The final grading, I don't expect to find anything too unusual. Again, most of the area that remains will be paved, and those areas can be addressed without as much over excavation. We're not supporting a building there. So I just don't see kind of some of the things we ran into early on the project. I don't see those coming to fruition at the end here.
Not so much a question, but and I know I've mentioned this in previous meetings, but if you recall over a year ago or a couple of years ago, we looked at just renovating the previous site, and it was almost going to be $5 million just to do some upgrades on heating, cooling, et cetera. And to see that this is still going to happen, excuse me. We don't know how much longer or how much more expenditure we would have needed to keep that site operational. And with this new site being a little bit over twice that amount, gives us approximately 50 years.
Yes. Yeah. We can certainly expect 50 years of service out of this facility. It's designed that way. I think if the council recall at the beginning of the project, when we talked about the design portion of this and we got into the project, that initial remodel and or upgrade to the existing facility, those budgetary numbers were based on trying to stretch the life of it long enough to build a new facility on a different location. That was not even a complete serviceable upgrade to make it a long lasting upgrade. So I think this is my personal opinion is I think this is certainly money well spent for 50 years of service at least.
Thank you.
So, yeah, Tom, I don't have a question. I am thrilled to see all the progress. I have to imagine your team is really happy with the new facility. I'm guessing you don't miss your old digs by any stretch.
I would say, I can confidently say that everyone that is down in that facility daily is very excited about moving. They're not looking forward to the move from the work aspect of it, but the final move in will be a great relief to them. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's great. And my other comment was just knowing what construction costs have been looking like and where they look to be trending this year. I have a feeling that cost would have gone up significantly if we had waited another year or two to start this project. So
I agree.
yeah,
I agree.
it's good. Great to see.
Okay, any other questions for the superintendent?
Awesome. Thank you.
Hearing none, thanks for the update. Resolutions and ordinances, item 7A. Second reading of an ordinance relating to a zoning map amendment to change the zoning district for a portion of the property located at 401 Madison Avenue, parcel number 226-0514-0412-006, from urban mixed use UMU to single family residential SR7. Building and zoning administrator Dreyer.
Yes, thank you. You'll remember we've seen this before, so this is our second reading. But yeah, this is a existing property that has a bit of extra space to the south of it, and property owner is attempting to Well, through CSM, we have, it's already been approved, but not recorded, separating off a single-family lot to the south of this. And this is merely the rezoning portion of that, designating that lot as a single-family lot. The existing lot that's to the north, or the parent lot, that retains its urban mixed-use zoning. This is strictly for the new lot on the bottom. If you remember, a plan commission recommended the approval of this on January 14th, and this city council saw it on January 21st. And I guess I'm open for any discussion, but staff recommends the city council perform the second reading of this ordinance and direct the city manager to bring the ordinance back to council for a third and final reading after the CSM is finalized. That portion of it is holding off until that lot is legally established before we designate zoning for it, which is why the recommendation for waiting for the CSM to be recorded.
Okay, any questions? Not, I would entertain a motion.
I move to direct the city manager to prepare the ordinance for a third and final reading after the CSM is recorded.
Second.
A motion and a second to prepare the ordinance for its third reading. Any discussion? Hearing none, motion is to direct the city manager to prepare the ordinance for a third and final reading after the CSM is recorded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is approved. Thank you. Reports of officers, boards, and committees. Item 8A, City Manager's Report. Manager Hausman.
Thank you. On January 22nd, at the Chamber of Commerce Annual Dinner, the Horde Historical Museum and Director Marilee Lee were recognized with the Tourism Counts Award for their work in supporting and promoting tourism in the Fort Atkinson area. The museum is both a community asset and a tourism destination, and we're proud that they received the award. The city's recruiting firm has released the full position profile and is actively recruiting for the Public Works Director position. The deadline to apply is February 19th, and there's more information on the city's website. 14 individuals have registered for the Boost Fort Atkinson, a business competition. The first of 4 educational workshops is on Thursday, February 6th at the museum. If you are still interested but haven't registered, please attend the workshops and you can register there. The city held a small groundbreaking for the Ridgeview Estates Public Infrastructure Project on Friday. Contractors, the developer, city council members, and city staff were present for a photo opportunity. We look forward to watching the continued progress on the roads. Also, land use applications for the private development have started going through the Plan Commission and City Council review process. We anticipate a couple of those to be on the next city council meeting for review. In December, the City Council approved an amendment to the city's contract with GFL for refuse and recycling services. The amendment reduced the number of bulk items to be collected monthly. The city did issue a press release in January about this, and then GFL followed up with a mailer to all customers describing those changes. Also note that the contract with GFL will expire at the end of 2025. This afternoon, Habitat for Humanity of Waukesha and Jefferson counties closed on the purchase of their first new home site in Jefferson County. The parcel is on the corner of McMillan Street and Schumacher Way. I would like to thank Fort Healthcare, the Fort Atkinson Community Foundation, and Habitat for Humanity for making the project possible, and I look forward to the groundbreaking this spring. The Public Works Operations Division recently welcomed Rob Stein as a full-time crew leader. Rob has previously worked in the Parks and Recreation Department as well as the Fire Department. And in his new role, he's already started his duties, including snow and ice events. And we're proud to have him on our team and look forward to utilizing all of his vast knowledge and positive attitude to continue to benefit the organization and serve the public. The Public Works Operation Division's newest employee, Austin Armstrong, passed his commercial driver's license learner's permit and has been training with our crew leaders in some of our larger vehicles. He'll soon begin the in-person coursework, and we're hopeful that he will be a licensed member of our team in no time. And as Tom mentioned, the Public Works and Parks divisions have begun preparing to move into the new Public Works and Parks operations facility. We expect the initial furnishings and equipment installation to start next week, with continued efforts to move in through February. And our team is really excited to operate out of our new building when we can. We do have a couple, we'll have a kind of a small scale open house after we're all moved in, and then do a big more public open house later in the summer when the current building is down and everything is landscaped and the project's finished. So we'll do a couple different programs there. Next week begins the fourth grade visits to the museum. All of the school district, the Fort Atkinson School District fourth graders visit the museum, learn more about Lorraine Niedecker, and travel out to her cabin on Black Hawk Island and then write poetry in her style. In May, there will be an open house at the museum for these students to share their poetry as well as their wildlife awareness posters. It's a great example of partnerships between the school district, the city, and the Historical Society and the Friends of Lorraine Niedecker, who all support and fund that program. A burn ban was issued by the Fort Atkinson Fire Chief on Saturday, February 2nd, due to the hazardous fire conditions in the area and throughout Jefferson County. The ban remains in effect in the Fort Atkinson Fire Department service area until lifted by the fire chief. If you are planning to open burn, please check the city's website and social media to determine when the ban has been lifted. And finally, our in-person absentee voting for the February 18th spring primary has started in the city clerk's office and will run through Friday, February 14th during regular business hours. And that ballot includes a primary for state superintendent of public instruction. I will be out of the office tomorrow through Monday, but available via cell phone and email if needed. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you for the report. Unfinished business, item 9A, review and possible reaffirmation relating to the petition to discontinue Trillium Drive and a portion of Banker Road in the city of Fort Atkinson, Jefferson County, Wisconsin. We have Building Inspector and Zoning Administrator Dreyer again.
Thank you. Yeah, so as we know, this came before City Council prior to this for the discontinuance of Trillium Drive. What was noticed after continuing to work with the designer and the engineer for the project up there was that there was an exhibit that included some erroneous information stating James Way on there. And this is staff bringing it back and thought it was appropriate for the public record to reflect the correct exhibit. Really, there's not much more else to put with it other than that. This is pretty much the same thing other than correcting some small issues that were on that original petition.
It also includes a legal description of the exact area to be vacated, which was not included in the initial materials that came to the council. And that did, just as for everybody's information, that did go to the Plan Commission on December 10th of 2024. And then the city council held a public hearing without participation on December 17th and adopted the resolution that is in the packet. But again, in working with the surveyor, he recommended that the city council reaffirm this item and include that portion of Banker Road in the title here. So
yeah, and to follow up with that, this will come back before City Council again when it's reestablished and dedicated in its correct location.
Questions?
So yeah, staff recommends the council reaffirm the petition to discontinue Trillium Drive and a portion of Banker Road in the city of Fort Atkinson.
I would move to reaffirm the petition to discontinue Trillium Drive and a portion of Banker Road in the city of Fort Atkinson, Jefferson County, Wisconsin.
Second.
A motion, a second to reaffirm the petition. Any discussion? Hearing none, the motion is to reaffirm the petition to discontinue Trillium Drive and a portion of Banker Road in the city of Fort Atkinson, Jefferson County, Wisconsin. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is approved. Item 9B, review and possible action relating to a certified survey map dedicating Hawthorne Drive as a public right-of-way.
Yes, thank you. This one goes back a little bit further. This is the public school access road that will become Hawthorne Drive that will service the new subdivision to the north. This was presented to the school district in August 17th of 2023, where they approved the dedication to the public. And then the Plan Commission saw this on September 26, 2023, and the City Council on October 3rd, 2023, or the City Council at that time, where it was approved. Since then, there has been changes, small, but still some changes made to this CSM in regards to a small addition of public right-of-way for a roundabout to the north, and then a small correction of a pin that was placed improperly on the original CSM for this. So this is another certified survey map, rededicating it. And this was also brought before the Board of Education, Public Schools on November 21st with approval again with these changes to it, dedicating it to the public. So we're bringing this back to you with these changes for reapproval. And I'd be welcome to any questions for that, but staff does recommend approval of this certified survey map.
Are there any questions?
I move to approve the certified survey map dedicating Hawthorne Drive as a public right of way.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the certified survey map. Any discussion? Hearing none, motion is to approve the certified survey map dedicating Hawthorne Drive as a public right of way. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is approved.
Thank you.
New business, item 10A, review and possible action relating to change order number 4 for the Public Works and Parks Operations Facility. Superintendent Williamson.
Yes, thank you. This will be, if you notice on the agenda, this is the first of 4 items that I have remaining on the agenda that pertain to the Public Works and Parks Operations Facility. This agenda item, this memorandum pertains to change order number 4. And is outlined in under the financial analysis, but essentially this document documents 7 items added, changed, or altered to improve the original design as intended. All the items are noted in the financial table and attached formally to the submitted change order. So you'll see under financial analysis, the total request for this associated with the change order number 4 is $9,342. I think what I'd like to do is just to have the council take note of the change orders as we've recorded them or as we've asked for approvals on those. The question came up is how do we foresee ourselves coming and how many more change orders do we see? I think you'll notice as we've gone through the project, the change order started rather large and we've worked our way down to what I would consider to be fairly minor for a $11-12 million project. So this change order marks 7 items. Several of them are, 3 of them are items that are omitted or removed from the project themselves and credited back to us. And the remaining 4 are items we've added to this. So what we have under the change order itself is RFP number 15, item number 1 is the EV charging station that we added to the project. The council did approve it. After going through the process and review and working towards the installation process, we felt it necessary to remove this item simply for the fact that in speaking with the city electrician, Nick Armstrong, the cost to do this right now isn't likely to increase over time, and we do not have any current equipment that requires electric charging. And as battery technologies improve, the charging stations may change. We felt maybe this was an investment we didn't need to make at this point in time, and knowing that the cost is not likely to increase greatly over time and advancement. When equipment does come to the facility that we start using and we'll need charging, we can add that charging station at that time. The second item on here is hold down anchors. These are in the service bay shop area. We initially designed for 12 of these. After the first 6 were installed and the concrete was being ready to be poured, it was determined by our service staff that 6 is more than enough to serve the public for the long term here. We do not need 12. They were just kind of redundant. So we credited that back to the project. And the other item that's a credit back to the project is small 12 by 12 gear lockers. These lockers were initially designed and installed for our summer help, but we have a vast amount of gear lockers installed, and we have quite a few personal lockers in the locker rooms that will serve the need for that. We just felt that this was just something we didn't need to install now. And you'll notice it's rather low cost. If we need to add 12 by 12 lockers 10 years from now, I don't imagine it will be in a huge expense for the city to do so, but a little bit over-planned, I think, over-designed at this point. The items 4, 5, and 6, and 7 are items that we added to the project. Infiltration pond undercutting. This was one of the modifications we had to make because of some poor soils we ran into. So that came out to $7,700, and that completed that pond. We look forward to final restoration in the spring. Miscellaneous electrical revisions, those are items, electrical outlets and things that we adjusted position on and moved and added to as we started to realize how we were going to use the rooms. Once you're in them and standing in them, you kind of realize, well, we need something over here that we didn't plan for. And those were additions to the project itself. Unit heater, electrical revisions, and brine pump. Those are items that we knew about and pre-planned, but were not included in this project as we were a little unsure of how we were going to handle the brine situation. But now that we've got that situated where we're going to place the pump and install the system, we had a little cost to install the shutoff for that. And then the unit heaters pertain to the west shed and how to get those up and running faster. Locker room wet areas, those were something that came up because of the polished concrete floors. The polished concrete floor tends to be a little slippery, and just outside of the shower areas, actually the flooring contractor recommended that we use an aggregate, a grit essentially to provide a little bit of grip in the sealant. So we opted to go for that outside of those shower areas. So staff is recommending approval of change order number 4 for the Public Works and Parks Operations Facility in the amount of $9,342. And I'm certainly happy to answer any questions on this that the council may have.
Any questions? If not, is there a motion?
I move to approve change order number 4 for the Public Works and Parks Operation Facility in amount not to exceed $9,342.
Second.
The motion is second to approve the change order. Any discussion? Hearing none, the motion is to approve change order number 4 for the Public Works and Parks Operations Facility in amount not to exceed $9,342. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is approved.
Thank you.
Item 10B, a review and possible action relating to the purchase of a forklift for the new Public Works and Parks Operations Facility. You have the floor still.
Yes, thank you. This will be the second of the 4 items that pertain to the FF&E side of the project. During the design and planning portion of this project, we knew and anticipated the need for some way to place items from the floor area up onto the mezzanine. So this is an item we anticipated in the FF&E budget, but the borrowing initially for the project included items to be provided by the city, and that included service shop equipment, facilities, operations equipment, furnishing, and the like. The design architect and the city worked together during the design process and came up with a $545,000 placeholder budget for FF&E. This item will fall under, or we anticipate falling under, that portion of the budget. The department released a request for proposals to purchase a forklift for the facility for safe loading and unloading of stored items from the new mezzanine storage spaces. Staff did receive, I'll make this correction, 4 proposals from qualified firms. The city requested proposals for both new and used forklifts with lifting capacities of 4,000 to 5,000 pounds. This in itself amounts to the 3rd request for approval within the FF&E category of the budget for the council. If you recall, we did have the tire changer come up first, and then the initial purchase of all the storage unit or storage shelving, racking, and furnishings came up as the 2nd item. So this is essentially the 3rd item. Proposals. The proposals came in ranging from $30,949 on a low bid for these units on a new side to a high bid of $33,566. And we also received 3 proposals for used units. These units came in at a low bid of $22,933 and a high bid of $26,765. Now, the low bidder for this new lift truck was Atlas Badger out of New Berlin at $30,000, which can be compared in the tabulation below. And the low bid on the used truck came in from Crown Lift Truck, and they came in at $22,933, which also is shown in the exhibit below. One thing that Crown did do was they proposed an additional option for the city, and this option pertains to a demo unit, which is essentially a new truck, a new lift truck, spec'd exactly the same as we proposed. And this unit has roughly about 100 hours on it. It's used specifically for sale. So it's just a demonstrator unit the salespeople will take and show prospective clients about. This unit does qualify for all new vehicle warranties, all extended warranty coverages for things like the oil-cooled brakes and powertrain. The city budget, 2024 budget, included a capital improvement project borrowing for the new Public Works and Parks facility in the amount anticipated at $545,000 for the FF&E to properly equip the facility. The department would like to complete this purchase utilizing these funds from that 2024 Public Works and Parks operations borrow. And the table below in the next exhibit shows the total budget of FF&E. This is the same table I showed in the first couple of times that I came before the council requesting these items. And as you can see from the table, if this request is approved, the balance of the equipment category will remain at $63,584.71. And the balances of fixtures and furnishings will remain at $75,988.68 and $119,407.09. Respectively. Staff will continue to review the FF&E needs as we go through the project and anticipate returning in the future to the council for some minor things as we grow into the project. But you'll see from the breakdown, we're proposing the purchase of the demonstrator unit, as it does give us all the warranty of a new unit, and it's an extreme reduced price from a new unit. So staff would be recommending approval of the purchase of a forklift from Crown Equipment Corporation for the Public Works and Parks Operations Facility in the amount not to exceed $26,387.30. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Did you say the demo unit has 100 hours on it?
Yeah, roughly about 100 hours, somewhere between 50 and 100, I was told.
And then what, is there a ballpark?
Like
how
a
many-
mileage?
Yeah, no, about just like a ballpark, how long a forklift like that you expect it to last?
Many years, 10 years or more. I think a good example is the used units that have been proposed to us that are included in here, all had roughly somewhere between 2,000 and 4,000 hours on them. And they were anywhere between a 2019 to a 2022. So I think we're going to get a good service life out of it. I don't expect it to see a great deal of heavy use. We're not a warehouse. However, it will be used sometimes in the yard, sometimes in the facility, and always in anticipation of storing things up on that mezzanine. So,
Thanks.
I assume this unit will be a propane powered unit.
yes, correct. It is LP. We did look at the electric units, but for our use, electric is, it's not necessarily set up to operate outside of the facility in damp or wet conditions. LP is perfectly suited for that. The second reason we considered LP over electric is our staff, our current service staff, are not certified in high capacity DC electric. So it would be tough for them to service these units. LP is an internal combustion engine, similar to the trucks that we use and cars that we use every day. They're perfectly suited to service those into the future.
I see this as a very wise decision going with the demo unit just for the sake of, like you said, the money saving. We're about $6,000 if I see right.
Yeah, I
So-
agree. Mhm.
And you know what you're getting a new unit with just a few hours. So
Mhm.
I would move to approve the purchase of a forklift from Crown Equipment Corporation for the Public Works and Parks Operation Facility at a cost not to exceed $26,387.30.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the purchase. Any further discussion?
Just, yeah, I didn't get a chance to mention this earlier. The only concern I had, the Crown has a 4,000 pound capacity versus the other units that were quoted at 5,000 pounds. Now granted, I work in this field, but I'm not sure. Are we getting the best quotes from Atlas and Conger if they had quoted a 4,000 pound capacity?
We gave everyone the same spec, essentially. We
Okay.
said anywhere from 4,000 to 5,000 pounds. We're happy with 4,000. We'll take 5,000 if it's a competitive bid. The reasoning behind the 4,000 to 5,000 pound range is we simply will not lift anything heavier with it. We have equipment that can certainly lift much heavier than that, and we just don't need anything heavier than that. So that 4,000 pound unit perfectly suits us. And again, everyone had the same, it was a level playing field. This just came from Crown as an option for us. Kind of a modified new unit for us to use. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, the motion is to approve the purchase of a forklift from Crown Equipment Corporation for the Public Works and Parks Operations Facility at a cost not to exceed $26,387.30. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is approved. Item 10C, review and possible action relating to the purchase of audio-visual equipment for the Public Works and Parks Operations Facility.
Okay, thank you. So this is the third item that I have here that will pertain directly to the Public Works and Parks Operations Facility. This is a item that was anticipated and planned for at the beginning of the process to help us utilize the facility, training sections of the facility and office spaces. So as we went through the process of design and planning, the design architect and the city again worked together. We set aside an FF&E budget of $545,000 as a placeholder. The Parks Department or the Public Works Department, with the assistance of the Fort Atkinson School District, released a request for bids in November on the 21st to 5 qualified firms in the table below. And staff received 2 proposals out of those 5 from the qualified firms. And these items in this request for bid or for audio video include monitors, televisions, controls, switching, cabling, and programming. These items will be used to prepare office spaces, multipurpose and break room and entry area to complete the move-in process. Again, this is the 4th request on that FF&E category of the budget after the tire changer, furnishing, shelvings, and forklift, with additional requests anticipated. These 2 proposals received ranged from a low bid of $45,465 to a high bid of $56,841. And the bids were put together slightly differently as this type of electronic equipment varies across the board, with differing equipment offerings and levels of service and, of course, options. As a result, staff scrutinized and reached out to the Fort Atkinson School District and our own city IT professionals for some opinions and help to review these 2 bids. Both groups indicated that each bidder's approach will work just fine for our needs and offer high-quality components for long life. Staff requested a list of references from past work products, and both bidders supplied and submitted a list containing a variety of different schools, local schools, universities, technical colleges, and commercial users. Of those schools, the Fort Atkinson School District is one which spoke very highly of ACS as a service provider for their training room needs. AC Advanced Communication Services was the low bidder at $45,465. And those 2 bids can be compared below in the table in the comments. So you'll see both bidders did bid slightly differently how they approached the subject of how we were going to use the training room, the office spaces, and the front entry. But in the grand scheme of things, both systems would work simultaneously the same, would serve us exactly the same amount of needs. So we broke out a base bid of just audio, video, scope, and controls, and then we broke out what each of the providing bidders provided us as options to the system. So these would be added items we may not or didn't consider initially in the original specifications. But it breaks out at the base bid of $45,465 from AC, and AV Design Group of Thiensville, their base bid did include video conferencing out of the conference room, which was something that AC Services did not. At this time, and the drastic difference in cost, the staff just didn't feel the necessity to spend that money to outfit the conference room with video conferencing when we think there's options for us in the future to, especially lower cost options, to do exactly the same thing. So in 2024, the city budgeted included capital improvement borrowing for the project, again, an anticipated budget of $545,000 for FF&E. The department would like to complete this purchase utilizing funds from the 2024 Public Works and Parks Operations borrowing. The table below shows, again, the similar table to the previous memo. The FF&E amount spent to date and the amount category of each of the current request, as well as the balance. As you can see from the table, if the request is approved, the balance of the fixtures in the fixtures category will remain or will become $30,532.68. And the balances in furnishings and equipment categories will now remain at $119,407.09 and $63,854.71 respectively. Staff will again continue to review the FF&E needs as we move along and move into the facility and anticipate coming to council for further approvals should they be required. So you'll see in the table, it breaks out what we've purchased to date, what we spent to date. The equipment also includes the purchase of the approved forklift. With a total remaining balance of funds in the FF&E budget of $213,785 should council approve the purchase of AV equipment today. So staff is recommending awarding the contract to AC Services, AC Advanced Communication Services, for the items included in their proposal for FF&E of the Public Works and Parks Operations Facility, amount not to exceed $45,465. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Nice partnership with the school district to offer their.
Yeah, I have to give kudos to
experience in
DJ because DJ really was, he was the driving force behind how we wrote the specifications and how we reviewed the specifications. He was a great help to us.
Okay, any questions?
I move to approve the purchase of audiovisual equipment for the Public Works and Parks Operation Facility from AC Advanced Communication Services at a cost not to exceed $45,465.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the purchase. Any further discussion? Hearing none, the motion is to approve the purchase of audio visual equipment for the Public Works and Parks Operations Facility from AC Advanced Communications Services at a cost not to exceed $45,465. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is approved.
Thank you.
Item 10D, review and possible action relating to the purchase of a part washer for the Public Works and Parks Operations Facility.
Thank you again. This is the final item on today's agenda for the Parks and Public Works and Parks Operations Facility. This item again was pre-planned in the design of the shop equipment and the service bay areas. This falls in the FF&E category under equipment. The borrowing of this project, again, to recap, it did include a budget anticipated at $545,000. Public Works staff researched this purchase quite extensively, as there are several different models and makes of this type of equipment. And we settled on the CUDA parts washer as being a very well respected and very well received unit in many areas of the service industry. The Public Works staff then reached out and to several providers for proposals of this CUDA parts washer. And we received two bids, the low bid at $12,595, and then a high bid of $15,471.65. The low bidder was Wisconsin Steam Clean. They're out of Watertown, Wisconsin, and they can be compared to the other bidder in the attached bid documents and the items below. The city budget includes the capital improvement borrowing, again, anticipated budget of $545,000 for furnishings, fixtures, and equipment to properly equip the new facility. The table below shows, again, it's a little redundant, but it's the same table we've kind of carried through the process. Shows the budget to date of the FF&E and the amount spent to date, and the amount of each category and that pertains to the current request. As you can see from the table, if this request is approved, the balance in the equipment category will fall to $51,259.71. And the balances again in furnishings and fixtures will remain at $119,407.09 and $30,523.68 respectively. And staff again will continue to review the FF&E needed as we kind of move in and grow in this process. And we anticipate returning to council to approve any future large purchases. So you'll see here, I've moved the category of the forklift and the equipment into the spent to date. And under this request of $12,595 for the CUDA parts washer, staff is recommending the award of contract to Wisconsin Steam Clean for the purchase of an automatic parts washer in their proposal for FF&E for the Public Works and Parks Operations Facility in the amount not to exceed $12,595. Happy to answer any questions on parts washers if you'd like.
Yeah, I have one of these at work, actually.
Yep.
The question I have,
Mhm.
typically when we think of parts washers, like we think of those like
Yep.
little sink-sized, solvent-based.
Yes.
Can you describe a little bit how these operate?
Yeah, so this equates to, if you can imagine, somewhat a large dishwasher. It utilizes water and detergent as opposed to solvents. We do have a solvents parts washer, which we will save for small parts in the small bays for servicing some of the smaller engines. But as we kind of grown into this department and servicing so many vehicles, this parts washer serves as an automatic system. So you can load up the baskets and the hoppers with various parts that need to be cleaned from several units at a time. And then it'll run on an automatic wash at high temperatures with detergents that are much less caustic to one's hands. And it runs on an automatic session. Once it's completed, then they cool. You can reinstall and repair these parts, but it gives us a little broader approach. We can service multiple vehicles, multiple units, multiple pieces of equipment, and wash parts all at one time. And again, it's automatic. It is using the analogy that it's a dishwasher is a little basic, but that's in essence what it is.
It sounds like it's similar to like a commercial dishwasher.
It is. It is. You essentially you swing the door open, the door locks closed. There's various baskets for small parts. There's shelving and racking inside there for larger parts, and the system is sized large enough to get larger parts in there. Right now, with the small unit that we have, it's essentially one mechanic washing one part at a time and taking as long as it takes with solvents to wash that one part, and then let that one part sit and dry off, and then wash another part. And anybody who's serviced these heavy pieces of equipment knows. I'm sure there's a particular council member who knows very specifically about how dirty some of this stuff can get. And in reality, having the flexibility to do multiple pieces at one time is I think a very big benefit to this department.
Any concern, like you mentioned, it's a water-based
Mhm.
cleaning system.
Mhm.
Any concern with rust if you're cleaning steel parts, or are these?
No, this system is specifically designed it manages the amount of water used, it manages the amount of detergent used, and it has a dry cycle on it. So it does not wear on that. Now, these systems are, again, there are several different types of machines that are out there, but in essence, they all operate the same. And I have no fear of the use. We relied a little bit on Stoughton. Stoughton has a unit that's very similar to this, and they're very happy with it. And so we kind of modeled our program off of how Stoughton set that up. Our mechanics met with Stoughton, our mechanics met with the designer, and this system is actually plumbed into the new service system that we have now. So the water supply's there, the drains are there, the overflow's there, and the 220 volt outlet is there. So we designed it around kind of this plan of this is how we're going to clean these parts from here on out.
You said this is big enough to put like a full engine block into it if you were overhauling the
Yeah,
engine.
yeah. The likelihood that we'd ever put an engine block in there is pretty slim. We do a lot of, we in-frame rebuilds, but heads can go in there. We can do, basically very large parts inside there. Yep.
Brake drums, rotors. that
Oh,
kind
yeah,
of
for
stuff.
sure.
Okay.
Mhm.
The wastewater that this generates
Mhm.
with the dirty water, what
Mhm.
happens with that?
That goes so any discharge from this unit goes into the sanitary sewer and is treated at the plant. We're set up, the reality of the amount of debris that comes out, there's actually a tray for grit and grime that gets screened out of all of that. And then that can be disposed of as solid waste. And then any water that's used in the process either can be recycled over and over again with detergent in it, or it's then pumped out and we can send it directly into the sanitary.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions?
So I move to approve the purchase of a part washer for the Public Works and Parks Operation Facility from Wisconsin Steam Cleaner at a cost not to exceed $12,595.
Second,
A motion and a second to approve the purchase. Any further discussion? Hearing none, the motion is to approve the purchase of a part washer for the Public Works and Parks Operations Facility from Wisconsin Steam Cleaner at a cost not to exceed $12,595. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is approved. Item 10E, review and possible action relating to the annual Public Works brush grinding contract.
Yes, thank you. So this is my final item, I promise. And this does not relate to the Public Works and Parks Operations Facility, but it is an annual thing that we have considered and brought before council every year for several years. So as part of our department owning and operating our compost facility, it allows the residents to drop off residential yard waste and also woody plant trimmings and tree trimmings. And as part of our obligation to the environment, we plan every year to grind this material and to reduce its size. And in general terms, we haul it out to various locations that are licensed to take this material. Staff distributed a request for proposals to 4 properly licensed and insured providers of this type of service. These providers were as follows: TLB Wood Products out of Seymour, Wisconsin, Enercon out of Hartford, Atlas Custom Grinding out of Hortonville, and Buckland's Tree Service of Menasha. And as a note, Buckland's was awarded the 2023 contract during that mass storm that we had. We had a great deal of brush, and they served us well. All of our RFP holders submitted proposals included in the packet of information tonight. After reviewing all of the submitted bids, staff determined that the low bidder, which came in from Atlas Grinding, achieved his low bid by putting a very basic 8 hours onto that contract. And from experience and having met with several of these providers and all bidding reasonable amounts of hours, we knew that the low bidder simply could not complete the task for the amount that he bid, and we were bound to be hit with a change order to increase the hours, as his bid clearly indicates minimum amount of hours. So we anticipated that. So the low bidder, based on proposal documents and eliminating the high bid, I believe the high bid was 55,000. So we eliminated the low bid of $5,400 and we eliminated the high bid of $55,000 and considered TLB Wood Products and Buckland's Tree Service. And they were both fairly competitive in the reasonable range for bidding services for grinding that we've seen in the past. And after reviewing all of that, the low bidder based on the proposal documents submitted was Buckland's Tree Service at $16,700. They provided the most reasonable rate to grind and a very competitive rate also for hauling materials offsite. The department began considering hauling materials offsite in 2022 due to the large amount of material, the level of staff time, and the amount of equipment involved to perform removing all of those chips. In 2023, City Council approved the first contract that included hauling costs to remove all the materials offsite to a licensed facility. All 4 service providers prepared proposals for 2024 brush grinding, with 3 of them providing optional bids for hauling services. In the bid tabulation, you'll see the optional hauling price did vary greatly. This item is anticipated to be paid out of the general fund under the refuse recycling compost site account that we use to operate the compost site. And as of tonight, the staff is recommending award of the annual brush grinding contract to Buckland's Tree Service in the amount of $16,700. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you have.
I don't have any questions. I appreciate the thorough explanation of the bids. Glad we got multiple competitive bids again. I will move to approve the Public Works brush grinding contract with Buckland's Tree Service at a cost not to exceed $16,700.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the contract. Any further discussion? I would just add thanks for reminding us that Buckland's helped us out through the cleanup from the storm in 23. With that, unless there is any other comments, the motion is to approve the Public Works brush grinding contract with Buckland's Tree Service at a cost not to exceed $16,700. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion is approved. Thanks much, Tom.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me have your time.
Item 11 miscellaneous, there are no items under this one this evening. Item 12A, claims, appropriations, and contract payments, review and possible action relating to the verified claims presented by the Director of Finance and authorization of payment.
I move to approve the verified claims as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the verified claims. Any discussion? Hearing none, motion is to approve the verified claims as presented. This is a roll call vote.
Councilman Becker,
Aye.
Councilman Jekyll,
Aye.
Councilman Johnson,
Aye.
Councilman Schultz.
Aye.
President Liscoher.
Aye, motion is approved unanimously. Item 13, adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. I just would remind everybody, our next meeting is Thursday, February 20th. We'll see you all then.